Hi friends, welcome back to another tutorial of iPhone app development. In this tutorial, we are going to discuss Swift basic concepts. In the Swift basic concept, we are going to discuss type inference and type annotations. So, we are going to discuss what is type inference and what is type annotation. Also, we will be discussing type safe. We say that Swift is a type safe language. So, what does this means? So, we are going to discuss that. We will be also discussing type aliases, which is used to declare a variable sometime. So, starting with the type inference. In Swift, whenever we declare a variable or whenever we define a variable or a constant, we are not required to specify the type. Swift automatically infer the type of the variable that we are going to define, and accordingly it create a space in the memory. So, this feature of a Swift is called type inference. So, Swift assign each variable and a constant a type based on what value it is given when it is created. That is, Swift is able to infer the type of something based on how you created it. This is called type inference. Moving to our playground, this thing will become more clear. So, let me open my playground and we will discuss this further. I am opening my playground file, and now I am going to create a variable. I am going to create let str is equal to hello world. So, whenever I create this string, I am not going to define, because we have declared it with the let keyword. So, we are not going to define that this is a string or a boolean or a number, or we are not going to define the data type. Here we are not defining the data type of the variable. But Swift automatically generate this variable and keep the place in the memory and automatically infer the data type of this variable. Now, if I am going to define str, if I am going to use var for this, since I will now be mutating this value, if I am going to use str is equal to 10, see what will happen? I am getting a error. An error is saying that you cannot assign a value of type int to a type string, but I haven't decided that this is a string. I haven't defined that this is a string, but I have used a double quote, and double quote is always used to define a string, and no quote is used to define a number. There is no quote, this is a number, and if I am using a double quote, it is a string. So as soon as I place a double quote, string decides that Swift decides that this is a string, and I will not be able to add any number to or give any number to this variable. So this is what called type inference. Swift infer the type inference. Now, what if I want to define the type? Yes, I can define the type. So, how will I define a type? I will put a double colon and I will write the data type, and this data type is a string, so I will write a string, and this is called type annotation. Writing a colon and defining a data type is called type annotation. Now I am assigning a string to this variable, and this is called type annotation. If I have added a type annotation string for this, I will not be able to, let me put it where, I will not be able to place a number to this string. So again I will get an error that you cannot place a number to a string. If I put it integer, I will get an error that this is not an integer. Write an integer over here, see. I will get an error, An error is saying that cannot convert a value of a string to specifying type int. So this is a string. So I am not able to convert this. If I put it like 10, then I can place the value, change the value to 12 like this. So this is called type annotation. Coming back to my slide, Swift assign a variable or a constant a type based on what value it is given when it is created. That is, Swift is able to infer the type of something based on how it is created. This is called type inference. When you declare a variable or a constant in Swift, you do not need to explicitly specify what data type it belongs to, but if you want to define a data type for a variable or a constant, you can do it using a type annotation. In the syntax is a variable where variable name colon with a data type, and yes, we have created a colon with a data type here. In our playground, we added a colon and a data type and added a data type here. So this is what, this is for a where we used a where keyword, and for a let we use a let keyword. So now what is type safe? Swift is a type safe language. Type safe language encourages you to be clear about the types of the value your code can work with. If part of your code require a string, you cannot pass it to an integer by mistake. If you do not specify a type of value you need, Swift uses a type inference to work out the appropriate type. So this is what is called type safe. I am using a string and I cannot assign an integer to a string, or I cannot assign a string to an integer value. And if you do not specify the type, using the type inference, Swift decide the types, and then it will not allow you to write another type for, use another type for the type decided earlier. So this is what is called type safe, and Swift is a type safe language. We always say that Swift is a type safe language. Type aliases. Type aliases is something for creating a type. This is something for creating a type, and the type, if I want to create a type of my own and I want to give a specific name for that type, I can use a type aliases. This is simply for you making your code to be more readable. Like, see, for type aliases, this is type inference, type annotation, and now I am going to discuss type aliases. Type aliases means making your code readable by creating a type of your own. Like I am creating a type with a name. So you do not write where for this. You simply write type aliases, and the type aliases name. I am going to create a name. Let me take a capital name, and this will be of type string. Now what I will create when I create a variable person, I will just put it, instead of writing a string, I will write a name here, and I will define the person name as my name. So this is what the type aliases will do. Type aliases will say that a name is of type string, but I am making it more readable. So whenever I define a person with a name, it is saying that name is a type of string. Holding your ear other way around and making your code more readable. This is what the type aliases is. So this is making your code more readable. This is nothing to do with the functionality part, but yes, type aliases is used sometime. This is a keyword that is used sometime in Swift language. So this is all for now. We discussed type aliases, we discussed the type safe, type annotation, type inference, and this was a very little tutorial and very short topic. So in the next part of our tutorial, we are going to discuss the data type, and in the data type we are going to discuss number, boolean, string, integer, and we are going to discuss all the features related to these data types. So goodbye for now. Don't forget to subscribe my channel, click the bell icon, and have a nice day.